Hey there guys, Inferno here again with another Answering Your Concerns video about Survive the Night. Now I'd just like to remind everyone real quick that I'm in no way affiliated with Survive the Nights or anything like that. It's just a game that I have high hopes in, and more than likely they're probably going to be shot down the instant this game comes out in alpha. But I like to stay positive and hope that this will be the sort of survival game sort of saviour, if you will. But anyway, I'm going to get straight into the questions, and we've got an interesting variety between YouTube comments and sort of other questions I've seen dotted around on other YouTube videos. So I'm going to start off with a question from a commenter on the previous video who asked about how loot respawn will work. Well, what the devs have said on their forums is loot respawn will work in a way where there will be like a variety of spawners in places, such as say a house and things like that, and they will all work based upon time and player radius. So if a player is near something, but the loot should have respawned say 10 minutes ago, but you haven't left that area, loot won't respawn while you're there. So as long as players aren't in an area and it should have respawned. Say if you go into a warehouse and loot it completely, say the timer for loot is 2 hours, right? You come back in 2 hours, providing no other players were there recently during the time of that area check, the loot will have respawned. So it's basically down to how the devs sort of decide to work the timers and things like that. But they have said it's going to be tweaked pretty much as soon as the game has the sort of availability to make that a main focus, because at the moment obviously there's a lot more sort of pressing problems, such as netcode and anything that's a lot more important than just being able to get loot to respawn in an ideal fashion. The next question I saw on someone else's YouTube video or on the Discord, I can't quite remember, but it was a question about will there be sleepers in the game? If you think about games like Rust and things like that, there's quite a few sort of survival games where once your character goes to sleep, in quotes there, or you disconnect from a server, your character will like sort of fall asleep on the floor as if they're just sleeping in place of you disconnecting. That's not going to be in Survive the Nights as far as the devs want. They don't really sort of want that sort of sleeper feature where people could be killed in their sleep, purely for the fact that the game has a lot of potential for your house to be sort of broken into while you're offline and asleep. I don't think the game is going to be too focused around sort of basing up in one area, because if you think about a lot of sort of survival games, movies, things like that, the main characters don't tend to last long if they try and hole up in like one set area, unless they've got some sort of ability to move from place to place, such as I don't know, if you think about older zombie films where they're in a mall, they couldn't stay in one shop, they'd move between several, things like that. But what you shouldn't be relying on is just taking over a house and then planning on living in it forever, because at the end of the day you're probably going to be in that house for maybe even a night, and then you're going to pack up all your stuff, throw it in a truck, move out. Simple as that. You don't want to really be hanging around, because once one zombie gets you sort of scent, all of the zombies are eventually going to start coming your way, whether it's you accidentally firing your gun, maybe a lamppost blows out, makes a ton of noise, you don't know, it's something tragic could happen, and you'd really want to be able to have that sort of agility and mobility to get anywhere on the map. That said, I've got an interesting thing to talk about here with the sleeping concept of the game. If you don't use a safe sleeping spot, which is determined as like a bed, a couch, a tent, something like that, to log out with, then you will be teleported to a random place on the map with gear intact, but you won't be in the place that you logged out. Now, this is meant to combat things such as combat logging and sort of steer players more towards logging out in their fortifications and things like that. But personally, I think that can get horrendously abused. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments about that, because my theory is, if I were to be shot at, right, the combat log timer is 10 seconds. If I sprint away into the forest and hide in a bush for 10 seconds, then log out, I will now, because I haven't slept in a safe spot, be teleported away from that person and be able to log back in safely and carry on with my journeys and tend to my wounds, etc. So how is that going to work, do you guys think? Because I personally think that mechanic will be taken out of the game pretty damn quickly, because something like that will get abused by pretty much all of the players. Last question is from another commenter on the last episode, which is, will zombies spawn sort of in your house and things like that? The answer is quite simply no. At the end of the day, zombies are not going to spawn directly on top of players unless it's a bug, because that would just be stupid game design. And as far as I'm aware, the devs are a bit more competent than that. So I definitely wouldn't look for something as strange as zombies spawning in the house that you're in to be a thing. It's more likely that they'll break in rather than spawn in there. So you might get a horde that spawns about a kilometre away and then hears your generators overnight or something, and then they come smashing into your house, even maybe while you're logged off. That's what you should worry about, not them spawning directly into your home, because that's not exactly a game mechanic really. That's more of a strange bug, kind of like the teleporting sleepers, but I don't know, we'll leave that down to the devs, because I can genuinely see that as something that will be patched out pretty quickly. My proposition for the devs would be change the unsafe sleeping. Say if I were to log out in a tent, you know, that sort of makes your character feel safe. It wouldn't affect their sanity. You'd wake up, I don't know, maybe you'd be a bit hungry, thirsty, you know, that's sort of how you feel when you wake up, really. But if I were to then take that away and sleep on like some hard concrete floor in the, I don't know, the middle of nowhere, say it's a parking lot in a park, like a big forest park, you know. If I were to sleep on that, I'd wake up, I don't know, my sanity would be affected because I've slept in a car park. I could have been attacked by zombies during the night. Maybe I'd even feel a bit more hungry because my body has had to keep me warm because I've had no shelter during the night. You know, something like that. Rather than being teleported somewhere randomly, you should be punished for not sort of sleeping safely rather than sort of being just randomly thrown out somewhere on the map. It just doesn't seem like a wise function to have, because say if you get a terrible spawn, wait 10 seconds, log out unsafely, which you do because you've just spawned, and then get teleported somewhere much better. It just seems like something that makes absolutely no sense at all. And the fact that you keep your gear when you do it as well just means you've genuinely got a free teleport. And the fact that that's slipped past all sort of alpha testing makes me kind of worried, but like I say, the backup tests are here for a reason. Maybe it'll get patched out, it probably will. But moving on. Just to wrap up the video, I'd like to let everyone know that the internal testing for the game has now started, which is the sort of pre-phase for the actual backer release. This week is entirely spent on the internal testing of the game over at A to Z Interactive, so hopefully we should see some new forums content probably at the end of the week, maybe the week after. The devs are still shooting for a late July release of the backer keys and an actual Steam release in August, probably late August, roughly a month after the backer release. So hopefully I'll be seeing you guys in the next video, which should be next week, or maybe this weekend. It depends on the results of the internal testing. Maybe I'll have some new screenshots to share with you guys, something interesting like that. Maybe even a new trailer, I'm not too sure. But anyway, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. I recommend that you go follow my Twitter, which is in the description below, for updates on upcoming videos. If you've got any questions, leave them below. I'll either comment and answer them right away, or I'll put them in the next video if you don't know the answer. And apart from that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.